Hello everybody, it's Ocelot, and welcome to another DLC build video, full DLC route guide. In this video, we're going to be focused on the Great Katana, which is luckily ground loot in the DLC right when you get in. You can get it literally within 5 minutes. Also, we're going to be pairing it with Blood Tax, which as you can see is doing great damage on Malekith. I'm going to be showcasing this weapon and the Dragon Communion Seal against all bosses after Malekith, all the main bosses. Now, on this fight against Gideon, and only against Gideon, I use seppuku on a rapier to proc the White Mask and the Lord of Blood's Exaltation, which are going to be two crucial parts of this equipment. That is completely optional, however, and is not required for this build. If you do want to start with both the Talisman and the Mask proc, however, it is recommended to grab seppuku and put it on a light weapon such as the rapier. Next up, we have Godfrey. Another item from the DLC that's going to help boost our attack power is going to be the Sacred Bloody Flesh. Now, this is not completely required in this build. As you'll see after this fight against Radagon and Elden Beast, I'll use Howl of Shabriri. So if you don't want to farm for the Sacred Bloody Flesh, and again with the stats that we'll have, you can completely bypass farming and just use Howl of Shabriri. Now, unfortunately, I wasn't able to proc Bleed, so the buff from Sacred Bloody Flesh ran out. However, at the beginning of the second phase, as Horalu is rushing us, you'll see that I consume another one. Now, if you can keep the Bleed procs up, you can keep that buff from the Sacred Bloody Flesh continuously cycling. Here we're about to finish Horalu, and as you'll see against Radagon and Elden Beast, this is not just a Bleed build. You can use this build against Bleed immune enemies. So what we did here, and I'll go over the stats, is we swapped out the White Mask for the full Ansbach set. So we have the helmet and the rest of the armor. Instead of the Lord of Blood's Exaltation, I swapped that out for the Outer God Heirloom, which gives us +5 to Arcane. And again, this is an Arcane build. And yes, we are featuring the Great Katana. That is going to be our main melee weapon. However, as you'll see when we go over the stats, our incant scaling is high enough where you can run almost any incantation that you prefer. Against Elden Beast, we're going to use the upgraded version of Pest Threads, which is Pest Thread Spears. We almost take off his full health on just 2 casts. Pest Thread Spears will make short work of almost any large enemy. Now, after I show you the stats, there will be DLC boss spoilers, so please like and subscribe and leave a comment down below. And here are our level 150 stats. We have 55 vigor, 17 mind, 20 endurance, 14 strength, 13 dexterity. We get 5 from Millicent's prosthesis, 33 faith, 70 arcane. For buffs, we have Blessing's Boon, Golden Vow, and Howl of Shabriri or Sacred Bloody Flesh if you'd like to farm it. You can use any Dragon Incantation and Pest Thread Spears. For equipment, we have a Great Katana at +25 with Blood Tax in Occult Affinity. We have a Dragon Communion Seal at +10 with 349 Incant Scaling. We have the White Mask. We have the rest of our armor as Ansbach's set, which gives us +3 to Blood Tax per piece, and that stacks multiplicatively. For talismans, we have the Lord of Blood's Exaltations, Millicent's Prosthesis, Winged Sword Insignia, Shard of Alexander. If you're in New Game Plus, you can swap out the Winged Sword Insignia for the Rotten Sword Insignia, and in the Physic, we have the Thorny tier and the Bloodsucking Crack tier. For bosses that don't bleed, we're going to switch out the White Mask for Ansbach's Wise Man's Mask, and the Lord of Blood's Exaltation for the Outer God Heirloom for +5 Arcane. Here's this build in action against a DLC boss. And instead of using the Sacred Bloody Flesh, I went ahead and used Hellish Brewery. There's a couple reasons why I did not use the Sacred Bloody Flesh. The main reason is that I don't completely know the DLC boss moveset just yet. So I wasn't sure if I was able to get close enough to use Blood Tax against Metter, the Mother of Fingers. Hellish Brewery lasts 10 seconds longer. And yes, you do receive extra damage by using it, but it's not relied on blood procs. It boosts all damage, whereas Sacred Bloody Flesh only boosts physical damage. And yes, this would have boosted our damage on Pest Thread Spears. However, I wasn't sure if I was going to open up with Pest Thread Spears or a Dragon Incantation. Going back to Sacred Bloody Flesh, it boosts all physical attack power by 25% and gives you plus 10 arcane. This lasts for 30 seconds. However, the effect can be extended every time you proc bleed. After this fight with Metter, I'll show you where everything is, and I will give a brief explanation of Ansbach's quest to get his armor set. So the first item you can get will be directly north from the starting area, the Great Katana. You can fight it in this lake on this mark. The next item that's closest will be the Greater Potentate's Cookbook 2. It's going to be in this shack. This will give you access to crafting hefty furnace pots. In the Rivermouth Cave, you can farm the Blood Fiends there that drop Sacred Bloody Flesh. They have a 2.0% chance to drop them. It's just south of the Templetown Ruin site of Grace. Go directly south. There's going to be some steps you can drop down, and you get to the Rivermouth Cave. There are other ways to get there, but to me, that's the easiest way to get there. Also in this area, there's about 10 Blood Fiends that you can farm, and you don't need to go too far into the DLC to find them. Next piece of DLC equipment we'll go over will be Ansbach's set. You can find him here first at the main gate cross site of Grace. Here's a quick rundown. You want to exhaust his dialogue there, then you want to go to the High Road cross site of Grace, exhaust Hornsense dialogue, make Letta ask you to take him out, go into Shadowkeep, invade Hornsent, talk to Ansbach, give him a letter, and then talk to Letta again, and then invade Ansbach. Again, it's fully detailed later on in the video. Another piece of equipment will be the Bloodsucking Crack Tier. This is going to be just east of the Castle Watering Hole site of Grace. To get here, you're going to have to drain the water in Shadowkeep, and then again from the first floor storehouse site of Grace, you're going to find just near where you invaded Hornsent a ladder you can go down, and then find a coffin, and that will take you directly to the Castle Watering Hole site of Grace and the Furnace Golem that holds it. Lastly, in Ra, we're going to be getting Pest Thread Spears. It's going to be in this general area. Now to get here, you want to go from the storehouse first floor site of Grace, go directly west, cross the bridge, and then you're going to go across another bridge. To see the full detailed route, continue on with the video. Again, if you haven't, please like and subscribe and leave a comment down below. Now here we are. We're about to enter the DLC. Go ahead and touch Mikla's arm. The first piece of equipment we're going to go after will be the Great Katana. So from the starting area, go directly north. Make sure you grab the 3-path cross site of Grace. You're going to go directly north from there and grab the Great Bridge North side of Grace. And in this lake, you'll find the Great Katana. In the Bellerate Jail, you can get 3 hefty crackpots if you need them. Southeast of this side of Grace, you're going to get the cookbook for the hefty furnace pot. And then from there, we're going to go west and grab this side of Grace so we can do Ansbach's quest later. So here's the full route. I am going to speed it up, but I will slow it down in key areas, such as key sites of grace, or when we're doing Ansbach's quest. So here we are, coming up to this site of grace. Make sure you pick this up. This is going to be the 3-path cross site of grace. You're going to continue north. We're going to go pick up the Great Bridge north side of grace. From there, we're going to go west and pick up the Great Katana. Now, if you need hefty crackpots, you can go further west from where we pick up the Great Katana and pick up 3 from Ballarat Jail. So here's our first piece of equipment, the Great Katana. You don't have to worry about the sleeping dragon. It won't aggro unless you attack it. And again, it's here on the lake. Warp to the Great Bridge north side of grace and get ready to head southeast. Next piece of equipment we'll be getting will be the hefty furnace pot cookbook. So once you grab the cookbook, if you have the hefty crackpots, go ahead and craft at least 2. I crafted 7. Next, go ahead and warp to the 3-path cross site of grace. We're going to head west. We're going to be picking up a site of grace, which we'll need later on to do Ansbach's quest. You can start talking to him now. I just went ahead and did everything all at once. But make sure you pick up this side of grace and or talk to Ansbach. It's the main gate cross side of grace. Once you pick it up, go ahead and warp back to the 3-path side of grace, and we're going to take this path towards Castle Ensis, then southeast. We're going to go towards the Fort of Reprimand. We're going to follow this path towards the Morth Ruins. And then we're going to go just northeast of Castle Ensis so we can talk to Leda, which will be part of Ansbach's quest. So here we are just outside of Castle Ensis. Go ahead and grab the grace if you'd like, then head southeast. Up ahead, you'll see blood fiends fighting it out with Mesmer soldiers. You can farm them for sacred bloody flesh if you'd like, instead of going to the Rivermouth Cave. Let's continue to head east. We're going to be coming up across a locked spirit spring. If you picked up Moog's Shackle or Margit's Shackle, you can use it here to break the rocks. Now, I've already done so, but this is basically what you're going to do. Break the rocks. It's right here. And jump up the Spirit Spring into the Fort of Reprimand and onto the Morth Ruins. Now, if you don't have the Shackle, the pile of rocks that you need to knock over are just northeast of that Spirit Spring. So continue on through the Fort of Reprimand. Make sure you grab this side of grace, as we're going to need it later, the Morth Highway South side of grace. Now let's head north into the Morth Ruins. And we're going to grab that side of grace because we're going to use the Morth Ruins to go towards the east part of the DLC map. So here we are at the Morth Ruins. We're going to go west towards the High Road cross side of grace. Again, we're going to pick that up now because we're going to need to go to it to talk to Leda to do Ansbach's quest. So once you grab that grace, let's go ahead and head back to the Morth Ruins side of grace. We're going to head southeast into the ruins and into Bonnie Village. Across both bridges, we're going to head north right after that. We're heading towards the Shadow Keep. The next item we're picking up is the Bloodsucking Crack Tier. And we're going to follow that path to get into the Shadow Keep to be able to get it. If you need more hefty crackpots, there will be one more here, which I don't pick up at Bonnie Village. But basically, you're going to cross both of the bridges, continue heading northeast. Once you get to the Furnace Golem up ahead, you're going to want to head directly north. This is the way to get into Shadow Keep without having to fight the hippo. So to be able to get to the Bloodsucking crack tier, we're going to need to drain the Shadow Keep of the water that you can see. Now when we drop down this hole, you're going to want to drop and stick to your left right past that door where the Fire Knight is. This is the way to the lever to drain the Shadow Keep of the water. Now you can explore after doing this, however, I just drained the water and then warp back to the side of grace we were just at. There's a couple reasons for that. If you warp after draining the water to the Church District entrance side of grace, you'll see that after going into the Shadow Keep, you'll get a free Iris of Occultation. But continue on to the same path that we just followed. And this time when we drop down the hole and we go through the door past the first Fire Knight, we're not going to make the first left. We're going to make the second left to go into the Shadow Keep and up the lift. Make sure to make a left right when you exit the lift. This side of grace is optional, but jump over this railing and make sure you grab this side of grace. This is the storehouse first floor side of grace that we'll be returning to constantly. Now go south and call up this next lift. Go down it. There's going to be a Fire Knight which you can kill or run past. After you kill or run past it, you're going to continue south and make a left, so you're going to be going east. There's going to be a ladder here. You want to go down the ladder, and behind this waterfall there's going to be another ladder. Go all the way down through the opening. There's going to be a secret passage here. Continue on, and there's going to be a coffin that you can ride into the next area, which is going to be where the Bloodsucking crack tier is. Now the Furnace Golem that has this tier is this one that's asleep. So if you follow this route, and this is the reason why we got the Hefty Furnace Crackpot Cookbook, is you need to throw at least one to wake it up, and if you have time to throw multiples, you can significantly take down a huge portion of its life. Now the Bloodsucking crack tier grants us 20% to all damage. It lasts for 3 minutes, but it drains your life by 2% per second. This is why we're using Blessing's Boon in our build. It doesn't completely offset it, but definitely slows it down. Here it is again at the ruins of Unt. Next, let's go to the main gate cross side of Grace. We're going to be going after Ansbach's set. From there, we're going to go to the storehouse first floor side of Grace, and we're going to talk to Ansbach. So go ahead and warp to the main gate cross side of Grace. Talks to Ansbach. Make sure that you exhaust his dialogue. What I did was I exhausted his dialogue, and then I just warped back to the Grace until he disappeared. Now Ansbach has moved to the Shadow Keep. So let's go ahead and warp to the Shadow Keep first floor site of Grace. And we're going to head into the Shadow Keep so we can continue on with Ansbach's quest. Now before we talk to Ansbach, we need to go pick up a key item. So we're going to continue on up to the 4th floor. So if you follow this path that I'm taking, it will take you to the 4th floor storehouse side of Grace. Go past it, make a left, go south. There's going to be a Fire Knight up these stairs. Past the Fire Knight, there's going to be stairs on the left, which you need to drop down. There's going to be a room here. And this is where you pick up the key item, the secret right scroll, that we need to take back to Ansbach. So go ahead and warp back to the storehouse first floor side of Grace. And we're going to run back to Ansbach and talk to him. So you're going to talk to Ansbach and exhaust his dialogue. Once you've exhausted his dialogue, we're going to talk to Leda, which is going to be at just outside of Cancelensis at the High Road Cross side of Grace. Before you talk to Leda though, you want to make sure you talk to Hornset, exhaust his dialogue, rest at the side of Grace, make sure he disappears, then talk to Leda. You're going to exhaust her dialogue. She's going to ask you to choose someone to ferret out. It doesn't matter who you choose. Just continuously talk to her until Hornset's the only option. Rest at the side of Grace. Talk to her again. She'll tell you to take him out. Once she tells you to take him out, we're going back to the Shadow Keep to the storehouse first floor side of Grace. We're going to head south towards the lift. We're going to go down the lift, and just past the Fire Knight, you're going to see 2 summoning signs. The summoning sign we'll be interested in will be the red summoning sign. You're going to assist Needle Knight Leda. So once you have successfully taken out Hornset, you're actually going to be rewarded with the weapon of Falx and Hornset's armor set. From here, you're going to warp back to the High Road Cross side of Grace, and we're going to talk to Leda again. Again, you want to talk to her, exhaust her dialogue. This time, she's going to recommend you take out Ansbach. By her recommending you to take out Ansbach, this is going to give you access to Ansbach's armor set and his bow. So this is the last step to Ansbach's quest. Go to the storehouse first floor side of Grace. Go back to where Ansbach is. You're going to see that he is not going to be there, but there will be 2 summoning signs on the ground. Make sure you choose the red one. You're going to assist Needle Knight Leda. You're going to assist her to take down Ansbach. Down goes Ansbach, and you finally completed his quest. This is going to reward you with his armor set, which gives you in total plus 14% damage to all dynastic and blood oath skills, which blood tax is. Next, we're going to be going after the featured incantation, Pest Spears. This is going to be in the Rao Ruins in this general area. To get there, we're going to go to the storehouse first floor side of Grace and head west. This is the general path, but of course, I'm going to show you the full path. So go ahead and warp to the storehouse first floor side of Grace, head west, call the lift, go down the lift, continue west, From here, you're going to still continue west, and you're going to be going outside of Shadowkeep at this point. Across this bridge, you can ride Torrent. Once you get up to the next door, you're going to continue up the stairs. And there's going to be another lift that you want to head up. From here, you want to head northwest, just outside of this door. Continue along the cliffside, and there's going to be a spot that you can drop down. From here, make a right and follow this path that I'm taking. Stick to the right side up ahead. Another right. You're going to drop down this spirit spring. Continue forward. Do not jump up this spirit spring. Go past it and then make a left. Continue the path. This will take you to another side of Grace, right before a broken bridge. This is the Rao Ancient Ruins east side of Grace. We're going to head west across the broken bridge. There's going to be a furnace golem, but you don't have to worry about him as long as you don't stop riding Torrent. Here you're going to make a right, and there's going to be another spirit spring where we need to use the shackle on. So go ahead and use the shackle, and look southwest. You're going to jump the spirit spring and stick to the right side. You'll be coming up some stairs, but you want to stick to the right side or left side and go behind the stairs. Pest threat spears will be ground loot. There's an enemy here which you can take out or just run past. And here's our featured incantation, Pest threat spears. Next, I'm going to show you a farming spot for Sacred Bloody Flesh. It's going to be here at the Rivermouth Cave. Here, there's going to be 14 Blood Fiends. Again, this is a 2% chance to drop. This is not completely necessary for the build. However, if you do want more AR and actually more incant scaling, you do want to get it, because it does boost all physical damage by 25%, which we're doing with Blood Tax and Pest Thread Spears and Rotten Breath. And also, you get plus 10 Arcane. Now, if you see the piles, which I will slow it down in a bit, there are some items that have shorter lights than others. The items that have the taller lights are going to be the Sacred Bloody Flesh. It's going to be this one right here. This is going to be Sacred Bloody Flesh. And not this next item, but the one right after is going to be another Sacred Bloody Flesh. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe and leave a comment down below. If you have any weapons or weapon arts you'd like to see a build on, please let me know in the comments. See you guys on the next one. Bye.